You're watching the free version of Mocha Essentials. Follow along with projects and footage with a premium download available at borisfx.com.
All right, so let's talk lighting changes and what the difference between linear illumination modeling is and interpolate illumination modeling is. So for this shot, we've got these logos on these cans and the lighting is changing pretty dramatically. I don't want to have to match this by hand. It would be kind of a pain. But you might not use the type of illumination modeling that you think you should on this shot. You can get really nice results with Mocha and the Remove module. Here I've replaced these labels with the Mocha logo, the Boris logo, and our secret Remove sauce. So let's talk about how we set this shot up. We tracked our background. Even though the background is not moving, we still needed to track the background in order to get a remove on this shot. I just tracked it using translation, and my remove isn't even tracked at all. It's just soft roto shapes. But here's where this gets interesting. I made a clean plate at frame 454. The reason I picked frame 454 is because this is the closest thing in this shot to neutral lighting. And you can see this is the image file I've created for my logo replacement. I just put this together really quickly in Photoshop. You can make whatever logo you like. Now, oftentimes when we create a remove, and there's this much lighting changes, folks will try to choose interpolate. But let me show you what happens if I pick interpolate and render backwards. See how when the lighting changes, it does its best to try to match it, but because it's brighter up here and darker over here because of the pixels that surround it, we end up with this sort of very odd lighting change happening. I want to keep my lighting consistent. So I'm going to pick linear. And not only is this faster, it's going to look better when we start to hit those blue and red lighting changes. The reason for that is I don't want to contaminate my lighting changes based on my roto. So think of illumination modeling a lot like the heal tool in Photoshop. If you use it next to a dark color and you're trying to match a light color, it's going to pull that dark color into its calculation. So make sure that when you are placing your shapes for your removes, that you're being thoughtful about where your remove is being placed. Let's talk a little bit about troubleshooting removes as well. When you create a remove, your background always needs to be totally encompassing your foreground shapes. And if it's not, when you remove, you're not going to have background pixels to replace your foreground object. So if you find your whole object isn't replacing, it's probably because your whole background shape doesn't cover the area that you need to remove. So not only do you have to be thoughtful about your foreground shapes, you also have to be thoughtful about your background shapes. So now when we hit remove, we're removing the whole object. Now, if you have to remove an object that's got occlusions over the top, or a lot of motion blur, or the worst, soft occlusions over the top, you're going to want to use patches and roto using the insert module and Mocha roto with maybe motion blur. And then if you have to do any color corrections, you're going to need to do those by hand. A lot of times removes work better as a patch. There are all kinds of things that users think should be a remove, but are actually a patch. And also, don't underestimate how much you can do with just offset roto. So if you've got to patch in somebody's hair, or you've got to patch in pieces of water, things that move really complexly, a lot of times you can get away with doing a soft patch from a different part of the shot using Mocha roto and a simple offset. So don't feel like everything has to be a remove. If you're not used to doing paint and beauty work and you have Mocha as your hammer, everything is going to look like a nail. But Mocha is a Swiss Army knife, and use the tools in Mocha that are going to get the job done best for you. All right, so we have covered a pretty comprehensive overview of the Remove module. We've talked about using clean plates and picking the right clean plate, starting on the right frame, when to use illumination modeling. And now we're going to talk about one more thing. Join me for Lesson 4, Exercise 21, the Remove module with Mega Plates.
You've been watching the free version of Mocha Essentials. To download all videos, projects and footage, purchase the premium version available at borisfx.com.